This is the University of Innsbruck. And this is the University of Innsbruck too. And so is this. And this. And even this up here is the University of Innsbruck. And this here. And there. And right here too. Yet the University of Innsbruck is more than just the sum of its buildings. It is, above all, a great number of people.
Ich darf Sie alle ganz herzlich begrüßen.
And all the people here have the same goal.
So what are you going to do this weekend?
They want to do research.
So, meine Damen und Herren, ich darf Sie ganz herzlich begrüßen
They want
zur
to learn.
Vorlesung im Rahmen der Experimentalchemie.
Gain new insights. And find solutions together. Sometimes it takes a change of perspective to give the mind extra space to think.
So if you want a change of perspective or even your actual surroundings too, you have come to the right session today. Today is already the penultimate day of the Aurora webinar week. I hope you have had the chance to attend some other universities' webinars too. My name's Katharina. I work for the International Relations Office of the University of Innsbruck. I manage bilateral partnerships, and I'm also the incoming exchange coordinator for international students. Before we officially kick off, a few things about housekeeping. So the session is supposed to last a little bit shorter than an hour because there will be subsequent sessions afterwards from the University of Grenoble and the University of Aberdeen later this afternoon, and you'll be invited to attend these too. You may have noticed already that the session is being recorded. This is for you if you'd like to rewatch some sections of our presentation later, or even for these people who are not able to attend today, so they can rewatch in their own time. The link will be made available on the Aurora Alliance website later. In case you do decide to speak up later during the Q&A session, you are invited to open up your camera and microphone then. For now, please, for a better and more stable connection, keep your microphone and camera off unless you are one of the speakers. I will introduce them in a minute. If something super urgent comes up, just use the hands up function on Zoom. Otherwise, all the while we are talking, you can post your questions to the chat box. Moving on with the presentation. So since the slides will not be directly available later, we decided to create an info padlet where we will post all the links that are being mentioned in the sessions. If you are rewatching the video later, you can just stop the presentation now, take your smartphone camera and scan the QR code, so you will be directed to the padlet. All right. That's that slide. And now moving on to the actual agenda. So you've already seen some nice pictures of Innsbruck and what the University of Innsbruck looks like. We also have another video. It's a welcome message from our Aurora institutional coordinator, Thomas Baumgartner. Afterwards, I'm handing over to Max Kratzer from our student advisory services. Max, if you'd like to give a wave so people can recognize you. Max will tell us all about the study programs and courses and also provide a broad overview of the University of Innsbruck. After that, we'll be handing over to Robert Natter, who is the Erasmus incoming coordinator at the International Relations Office as well. He'll tell you about aspects that are of particular interest for students who come to Innsbruck on an exchange for a shorter period of time. So about living, costs, leisure activities, etc. And this wouldn't be an Aurora presentation if we didn't already tell you about the possibilities you currently already have to come study at the University of Innsbruck or have some other meaningful international learning experience in the meanwhile. And we have also for this section, it will be 3 moderators. So I will be discussing some of the Aurora offers, then we'll have Robert speak again. And I'd also like to give a warm welcome to my colleague Larissa, who is our expert on Aurora internships and Erasmus internships, but more about that later. And the last part of our presentation is going to be a Q&A segment. So all the while while we are speaking, you can post your questions to the chat. Yeah, we'll discuss a little bit with 3 of our students whom we've invited. We've got Johanna, Stephanie, and Valerie present today. So thanks, girls, so much for agreeing to do this with us. And I've been talking a lot. Without much further ado, I'll show you another video now to keep it worthwhile.
Dear Aurora friends, a very warm welcome from the University of Innsbruck, Austria. My name is Thomas and I'm heading the local Aurora office. Innsbruck, claiming to be the capital of the Alps, is a place where nature meets urban life. Nestled between Germany and Italy, it has always been the crossroads of Europe, providing the province of Tyrol with myriad cultural influences. Being known for hosting the Winter Olympics twice, sports activities are a big thing here, like hiking, climbing, and of course everything that involves ice or snow. But it's not all about the outdoors in Innsbruck. The city is also the largest knowledge base in Western Austria and a vibrant university town with an astonishing student population of more than 30%. Innsbruck is hosting 6 higher education institutions, with the University of Innsbruck being the largest one, giving an academic home to 30,000 students and 5,000 staff. The University of Innsbruck had long been the only higher education institution in the Tyrol and remains the only comprehensive, research-intensive university in the region, acting as an intellectual incubator and impetus for a beneficial social development of the wider region. We strongly believe that the knowledge we generate is not only meant for the few, but should benefit society as a whole. Being a full-fledged university, we offer disciplines ranging from A, like architecture, to C, like zoology in an international environment, with almost 50% of our staff and students coming from outside Austria. Are you interested in joining us as well, whether it might be for a virtual, short-term or longer mobility period? I hope this webinar gives you a better impression of who we are and what we do. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we hope to see you soon in Innsbruck.
Okay, thanks so much for Thomas for doing this introductory message. I'll now hand over to my colleague Max from the Student Advisory Services. He is advising degree-seeking students on a daily basis, and he can tell you all about our study programs, courses, etc.
Yes, thank you, Katharina, and thank you, Thomas, and welcome from my side as well. So, as already mentioned, I will now give you an introduction to our university, the town of Innsbruck itself, and our study programs. Yes. So, the University of Innsbruck, being a rather old institution, was founded in 1669. So 2 years ago, we celebrated our 350th birthday. It is Austria's 3rd largest university, with the largest one being in Vienna and the 2nd largest in Graz. As already mentioned, we have right now 28,000 students and more than 5,000 staff, 16 faculties and 83 departments. Next, please. On these 16 faculties offer a range of 129 study programs, 42 of them being bachelor programs, 4 being diploma programs, 57 being master programs, and 26 being PhD programs. Until now, unfortunately, there are no bachelor programs taught in English, but as you can see, there are quite a lot of master and PhD programs taught entirely in English. In addition to that, the university offers 2 supplementary programs, as well as many additional offers that can be included into your study program. So you can widen your horizon and look beyond the borders of your discipline. Next, please. The main research in Innsbruck are, for obvious reasons, mountain regions. But there is lots and lots more. There is a digital science center. There is research in cultural encounters and cultural conflict, molecular biosciences, physics, scientific computing, and economy, politics, and society. And after hearing all of that, you can already tell that the University of Innsbruck is a large institution and not only has impact in the academic world, but also for the entire society in Western Austria, and is therefore one of the largest employers in the region. It is also the official university not only of the region of Tyrol, but also of the neighboring province of Vorarlberg, and also of the province of South Tyrol, which is in Italy, but has a large German-speaking population, as well as the country of Liechtenstein. So a lot of our internationality is coming from this reason, for obvious reasons. Yes. Next, please. So some facts and numbers about our university. So among the 28,000 students, there are 46.8% male students, and the larger portion being female students with 53.2%. 45% of our students are international students, most of them coming from EU countries, of course, and the largest group among them being from Germany, with almost 7,000 students from Germany. 4.6% of our students are non-EU students. Every semester, there are approximately 4,000 lectures held at the University of Innsbruck, and almost 1,300 of them are taught in English. So the English taught lectures are not only in the English study programs, but also in some bachelor and diploma programs. You will find English taught lessons, which you can, of course, attend if you are studying another subject. Next, please. So the University of Innsbruck, as already mentioned, is a rather old institution and therefore has grown over the years. So here you can see a map of Innsbruck, and you can tell that the university is spread all across town. So for example, here, location A is Campus Inrhein, which is the main university. B is our sports institute. C is our Campus Technik, where most of our engineering sciences and lots of nature sciences are taught. D is our Campus Universitätsstraße, where most of our political, social, and economic sciences are taught. And last but not least, I is our botanical garden. Next, please. As already mentioned, and as you can tell by the picture, Innsbruck is located right in the heart of the Alps. It is the capital of the Tyrol province with a population of approximately 130,000 people, and more than 30,000 of these being students. Due to its location in the heart of Europe, train rides to major European cities are not very long. So it's 2 hours to Munich, a little less than 2 hours to Salzburg, a little more than 4 hours to Vienna, but also to famous Italian city of Venice. It's not more than 5 hours by train. After hearing all that, there are, of course, many reasons to study in Innsbruck. I will just give you a few. So you study and research in the heart of the Alps. So while having a urban flair, while being in the city, you're always surrounded by an impressive natural scenery, resulting in lots of possible leisure activities ranging from theater to ice climbing. Also, due to its location, distances are very short in Innsbruck. So as we've seen before, the university is spread out all across town, but you can reach every different campus location in 10 to 15 minutes by bike. Innsbruck also is aware of its regional roots, the university, but also has a very global network. So as already mentioned, 45% international students, as well as almost 500 cooperation agreements with individual institutes and universities in almost 50 countries. And you can expand your competencies and complement your knowledge by, what does that mean? So our study programs are designed in a way that makes it possible to attend lectures from many different subjects, or even include an entire supplementary program into your study program. Next, please. So here you can see our 16 faculties. As you can see, almost every subject is taught at the university, or every major subject is taught at the University of Innsbruck. What you will not find on this list is a faculty of medicine. It was up until 2002, but since that year, we have an entire University for Medicine in Innsbruck. Next, please. So if you come to the University of Innsbruck, it's always good to know how the academic year is structured at the university, because it might differ from university to university. So the winter semester in Innsbruck starts in October and ends at the end of January. Then there are no lectures during the entire month of February. The summer semester then begins on the 1st of March and go through all the way to the end of June. And then there are summer holidays from the 1st of July till the end of September. Next, please. So now I will give you an overview over all the English taught programs at the University of Innsbruck. So as already mentioned, there are master and PhD programs taught in English. On the upper half of the slide, you will always see the master programs taught in English, and on the lower half, you will see the PhD programs. So for example, on this slide, you can see mathematics, software engineering, and computer sciences are the master programs, and the PhD programs being architecture, computer sciences, engineering sciences, and mathematics. I will now let you read the rest for yourself, since I won't have to read the entire list to you. Yeah, so that's it from my side, and back to Katharina.
Okay, thanks so much for giving us the broad overview today. In case you have any questions right now, dear participants, just post them in the question and we'll get back to them later. If nothing super urgent comes up immediately, I will hand over to my colleague from the International Relations Office, Robert Natter, who is our expert for student life in Innsbruck.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Katharina. As already mentioned, I'm Robert. I'm apparently an expert for student life. I'm also the Erasmus incoming coordinator. I'm going to tell you a bit more about the following points. So first about accommodation, because that's a very, let's say, urgent topic here in Innsbruck. Then about transport, your costs of living, leisure activities, and in detail about the Erasmus student network here, a Freizeit ticket, the University Sports Institute, and club activities. So let's cut to the chase. Innsbruck is a city of, as Max mentioned, about 130,000 people. Quarter of them, more or less, give or take, are students. We have 32 dormitories here that are operated not by the university, but by separate organizations. Students also usually live in private flats, either in shared flats or in a studio apartment. But there's a reason why we're putting this topic first. That's when you come to Innsbruck, it is very, very advisable to start looking for accommodation early enough. If you come here and have flat interviews, you can stay at hostels if you arrive early, but it's advisable to already have your accommodation settled by the time you come here. You can do this by either looking accommodation up in Facebook groups in case you want to stay in private flats, or on a dedicated website by the local students union. You can also stay in a dormitory and apply either directly via the dormitories or with the ÖAD, the Austrian Academic Exchange Service. That's that for accommodation. Next slide, please. For transport, Innsbruck is a very, very small city in terms of distances. As Max mentioned, you can get everywhere by bike in about 20 minutes. However, we also have a very good public transport system, which is a tad expensive if you only take single rides, because those cost $270 per ride. But we have semester tickets as well, which cost around 140 euros for just Innsbruck and around 190 euros for all of Tyrol. If you get one of those tickets, you can use all the public transport in either Innsbruck or Tyrol and go everywhere you want. What our students usually do when they come here, though, is they get a bike, they either rent it or they buy it, and when they leave, they sell it again. That's that. Then costs of living in Innsbruck, accommodation, rent costs approximately between 350 and 450 euros. Of course, there are places that are cheaper, but there are also places that are more expensive, but this is a pretty good starting point to calculate. Depending on how you want to live, you spend either 300 euros on food, 200 or 500, depends entirely on you. And other expenses, so books, entertainment, transport, free time, whatever you want to do, comes down to usually around 250 per month. So if you come to Innsbruck, calculate about 900 to 1,000 euros per month for expenses, and you'll be pretty much settled for everything that you need. Then to the more fun part, like not expenses, but the people that make you spend money. We have a local Erasmus Student Network section in Innsbruck, in short ESN. There is an ESN section in Amsterdam as well. There is one in Olomouc. There is one in Reykjavik. I think Grenoble and Tarragona do not have one, and there is one close to Duisburg-Essen as well. Anyway, what ESN does is they organize buddy programs. So you have somebody to turn to in case you need help with administrative stuff or somebody to show you the city. They organize city challenges. That's more or less a scavenger hunt, language cafes, pub cross party trips, hikes, etc. They always introduce themselves on the very first day of the semester to the students, and you can also find them on their website or via Facebook or Instagram by looking for ESN Innsbruck. Next, please. Then due to the location, it's quite obvious that you in summer either go hiking or in winter you go skiing. And there is an amazing ticket called the Freizeit ticket, which enables you to do just that all year round. It is a tad expensive. If you're only here for a semester, costs around 550 euros, but it's valid for the whole year. Includes a whole host of ski resorts around Innsbruck. You can go glacier skiing right now already if you want to, but also museums, public pools, etc. are included. So you have endless possibilities, and it's a great thing to have overall. Then one thing we are very proud of as a university is our University Sports Institute, or in short, the USI. The USI offers a very, very great range of courses, indoor, outdoor, and also competitions. You can do basically everything there. You can do just your classic fitness courses like gymnastics, stretching, whatever. You can go swimming, skiing, climbing, biking. You can play tennis, do yoga, martial arts, dancing, football, etc., etc. So if you're just looking to try out new sports, you can do that. It's super cheap for students. Courses start from 10 euros for the whole semester. The most expensive ones I found were at around 150 euros for the regular ones, and there are some specialized ones that are more expensive, but you can do sports very cheaply. And if you have a group of friends and you want, for example, to play football together, you can also rent a football field there. Next, please. And then the question is, have you ever surfed on a river? This picture is from Upstream Surfing. That's a small organization in Innsbruck that organizes just that, but there is also a university sports course where you can go upstream surfing. The houses you can see in the background are the old town of Innsbruck, and the person surfing is actually hanging on to a rope that's tied to the bridge. So if you want to try this, come here. Then there are other extracurricular activities as well. We have a language center at the University of Innsbruck as well, where you can try to learn Japanese if you feel like it. You can do Norwegian, you can do Swedish, you can do, I think, Afrikaans even. for around 150 euros for the whole semester, and you get a language certificate in the end usually. There's a university choir and a university orchestra and the university big band. So in case you want to sing, you want to play your instrument in a professional environment, you can do that here as well and just join them. And last but not least, about student life and leisure time, club activities. Austrians have a very, very strong club culture. There is almost no one out of all the people that I know that has not joined a club or is not part of a club their lifetime. There is a very nice website right here, the Vereinsportal, where you can find all the clubs in Innsbruck and around. There's a football club, an American football club, a theater club, snooker club, aikido club, singing club, and many, many more. So if you think you have a weird hobby, try looking it up here. You will probably find people that share this weirdness and enjoy it together with you.
Okay, thanks so much for this part of the presentation, Robert. I really hope that all of our participants have now gotten a real appetite for delving into their next international learning experience at the University of Innsbruck. But like I said in the introduction, it wouldn't be an Aurora presentation if we didn't really already tell you about what you can currently do at the University of Innsbruck. This next segment is divided in 3 parts. We'll have 3 hosts. And since Robert is already in the flow and so warmed up, he'll kick us off with the Erasmus possibilities.
Okay, then let's keep going. I know we're talking about Aurora here, but we can't really talk about Aurora if we don't also talk about Erasmus. Some of the universities that are part of the Aurora network and the Aurora Alliance already have Erasmus agreements with the University of Innsbruck. This means you can come here in the framework of the Erasmus program as well. I'll just quickly talk about the requirements for Erasmus. You have to study at a higher education institution, so university. If you are a first cycle student, so a bachelor student, you must have completed your first year of studies, and both universities must have an agreement for a specific subject and hold the Erasmus Charter for Higher Education. Currently, the University of Innsbruck has agreements with the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam in geology and computer science, with the University of Iceland in geology and geography, quite obviously because Iceland is super interesting in that regard, but not only. We have an agreement in ancient history and ancient Oriental studies with the University of Naples, in agreements in geography, civil engineering, Roman studies / German, because French people come to Austria to learn German and not learn French, and geology with the University of Grenoble-Alpes. And of course, economics agreements with the Copenhagen Business School, namely strategic management, marketing and tourism, and international economic and business studies. If you're studying one of those subjects, there are existing Erasmus agreements, and if you fulfill the criteria above, you can talk to your international office or the office handling Erasmus mobilities and also come to Innsbruck via the Erasmus program. Next slide, please. But what about the others? Unfortunately, we do not have an Erasmus agreement in a specific subject with Palatsky University in Olomouc, or with the University of Duisburg-Essen or University of Rovira Virgili. We'll cover that one in a moment. For the University of East Anglia and the University of Aberdeen, I would ask you to contact your international offices there. As far as I'm informed, there is still the possibility to use the last round of Erasmus funding in international economic and business studies for the University of East Anglia. Apart from that, students from there will come to Innsbruck via the Turing scheme in the future. Or if you're not coming by the Turing scheme, you're probably going to come here in the framework of Aurora, namely the MAMA agreement, the multilateral Aurora mobility agreement. That's an agreement that we are working on right now. It is going to cover all subjects. So unlike the Erasmus agreements, you are not bound to the subject of the agreement. And if you're not studying that specific subject, you cannot go. Via the MAMA, you will be able to study at the University of Innsbruck, regardless of your field of study. More details will be available at your international offices in the near future. If you want to know more about how to come here, please contact your home university, your international office there. They know all about dates, deadlines, about the requirements, about how much money you will get as funding, contacts, etc., etc. That's it from me.
So thanks so much, Robert. You'll have to bear with me again. So some of you might think that exchange with another university always necessarily have to be traditional mobility where you actually travel to another country, but a meaningful international learning experience can also entail other factors, for example, online courses where students from different universities come together. We actually already have 2 Aurora-ized online courses in the winter semester 2021. 21-22, sorry. Took me quite a while to learn the word Aurora-ized. Maybe if you're not familiar with that term yet, I'll give you a brief explanation. So within the Aurora Alliance, we are also working on developing the teaching, and Aurora-ized courses need to fulfill a certain number of criteria. For example, they should be interdisciplinary and feature a cross-university approach. They should be embedded in one of the 4 pilot domains that are important within Aurora, which are, for example, sustainability and climate change, health and well-being, digital society and global citizenship, and culture, diversity and identity being the 4th. So you already see the Aurora Alliance aims at equipping students with the skills and mindset to become entrepreneurs in a social way and also innovators, because we face major societal challenges right now, and we need to equip a diverse population of students to deal with just these challenges. All right, so the 2 Aurora-ized courses that we currently have are different in their format. So the sustainability and climate change course has a very interactive format. It is a smaller course with only, I think, 66 participants maximum. There are several key components in this course. So after an introduction, you'll have some frontal lectures and small discussion groups. There will also be workshops on undertaking a sustainability assessment for a business. And there will be seminars and discussions with external stakeholders on communication and policy implementation. You actually had to register for that class before the end of September, so registration is closed right now. But actually these people who registered, they will also get a transcript from the University of Innsbruck. And in case you would like to sign up for future lectures, please check with your home university first whether these credits can actually be recognized towards the degree you are studying at home. Otherwise, participation, regular contributions, and exercises are necessary for passing or failing this class, and it has a mandatory minimum attendance of at least 75%, and you need to complete all the exercises. In contrast, the second lecture that we have this semester is actually a lecture series called Cultural Encounters and Conflicts. I think it takes place every Wednesday at lunchtime. So it is a brown bag lecture series, and the live stream is available on YouTube, and you can also rewatch later. If you haven't signed up before the end of September, you can unfortunately not join if you are a student from another Aurora partner university, but you can still get a feel of what the course looks like, and it is super interesting because as a lecture series, it has professors from different universities giving you their take on diversity in higher education. So I can highly recommend that. And I have also posted the website of this course where you can also find the link to the YouTube playlist. Unfortunately, the details for the summer semester are currently being finalized. So there are 4 courses planned. So 3 lecture series like the one we currently have in Cultural Encounters and Conflicts. So a course without a limit of participants, and that will be available for a wide number of students. And another course including an online component as well as a short time mobility in summer 22. So stay tuned for more information, and heading on to our next slide. In addition to that, something I can already spill the beans about is an Aurora summer school that is really a dedicated Aurora one. It's called Borders and Places and takes place at the end of July 2022. It is not directly in Innsbruck, but rather an hour west of Innsbruck in the beautiful Ötztal Valley in Obergurgl. The target group are early career researchers from Aurora universities who would like to network with their peers. So basically PhD students from the humanities. The good news about this summer school is that there is actually not going to be a participation fee, and organizers are trying to cover as much of the financial side as possible to make it even easier for Aurora students to participate in this summer school. The applications are already underway, so if you want to sign up for that, please send your CV and a short abstract outlining your research project to the program coordinator. Her email contact is noted on the slide here, but you can also find more information on the website that is linked on our Padlet. The application deadline is 30th of November, so that's really something that you could apply right now for. Then on top of that, the University of Innsbruck also has a few other summer schools. Like some of the courses that Max told us about, a couple of them are being taught in German. For example, the numeric modeling, the trauma pedagogy, and the St. Petersburg Summer School are in German, unfortunately. But maybe if we have a student of ancient sciences or of archaeology, you might be interested to learn more about our summer school Aguntum, which is a summer school for archaeology in the eastern part of the Tyrol. And there's actually going to be a field school program in Georgia and Armenia that is planned for the summer. It's the first time that this will be offered. So definitely have a look at the websites. For these two archaeology summer schools, I believe there are mailing lists. So if you're interested in getting information about that, once it becomes available, just sign up for the lists. Otherwise, the application deadline for our European Summer School and Canadian Studies is already open. This is a joint summer school between the University of Vienna and the University of Innsbruck, with 1 week being in Vienna, 1 in Tyrol. So you kind of see the best of both worlds. And the topic is mainly surrounding Canadian studies. It is taught in English and French, and it encompasses many different study programs, such as cultural studies, indigenous studies, media studies, language and policy, just to name a few. For these summer schools, since they are not dedicated Aurora ones, please apply for funding at your home university. Just contact your Aurora institutional coordinator or the respective international office. All right, and speaking of non-mobility, non-traditional university study mobility options, I'll now hand over to my colleague Larissa.
Yeah, thank you, Katharina. Hello from my side. I hope you can hear me. I am responsible at the International Relations Office for Erasmus Plus traineeships normally, and now I also got the responsibility for the Aurora traineeships. I'm a member of the work package International Traineeships. And here you can see all the universities which are part of this work package. And therefore the students of these universities, they can apply for an Aurora traineeship grant. So the basic steps are quite simple. Students look for a traineeship in an Aurora partner country. So it's important to mention it's an Aurora European Universities Alliance partner country. And then if you found one, you can apply for an Aurora funding at your home university. The application for the funding is different at every university. Unfortunately, I cannot tell much about that because, yeah, it differs a lot. Some universities have an open call, others, they have limitations. It also depends on the budget and how much places they can found. So it's really very different. Please just contact your Aurora office or your international office, your Erasmus office, whoever is responsible for Aurora issues at your university, and they can tell you more about the requirements, the deadlines, and the application documents. And then you get the funding. The funding rates, it's the same rates than we have within the Erasmus Plus traineeship program. That also differs from country to country, but it's about 500 to 600 euros approximately per month. And yeah, if you want to know the exact rates, please also contact your international office or the ones who are responsible for Erasmus at your university. What we are offering for incomings is we offer a few traineeship opportunities, and we offer some help when you are interested in a traineeship in Austria, interested to find a traineeship in Austria. I mean, in general, students are responsible to find a traineeship by themselves, but every university tries to offer as much support as possible. So maybe if we can show our website. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can see on the beginning of the website, we have all the information for outgoing trainees. So people who are studying at the University of Innsbruck and are interested in doing an Aurora traineeship. And at the end, as Kati showed before, we have the information for incoming Aurora trainees. So again, if you are a student of one of the following universities, for example, University of Iceland or Palacký University, then you can do an internship in Austria and you can get Aurora funding. And here we have a few platforms, traineeship platforms for you. The first one is our career service from the University of Innsbruck. Unfortunately, until now, it's only in German. The career service is working on it. In general, they want to apply a complete new system with different languages, but right now it's mostly in German. You can find here, so if you click on, I think it's employment type on the job filter, then you can filter trainee Beschäftigungsart. Yes, exactly. Here you can filter trainee or Praktikum, and then you can find all the different offers we are having at the moment. And yeah, I would always do both, like trainee and Praktikum, because most of the people I think are using a Praktikum as a keyword. And then you can just apply directly at the company. Yeah, so if you click here, you can find the contact information of the company. You can find the application deadline. You can find the requirements and everything. So yeah, and the salary, if you get a salary or not, what are your tasks? And then you can apply directly at the company, and they will invite you to an interview and tell you the different steps. And then we also have another platform on the website, which is from our student union. And again, these are just like platforms we recommend. So it's not that you will get these traineeships for sure. It's just a help for you. It's Blackboard ÖH. So ÖH is the Austrian Student Union. Yeah, and here you just have a wide list. It's not only focused on the Tyrol. It's like, yeah, for whole Austrian region, whole Austrian area, many different traineeships. And if you click on Alle Anzeigen, so show all, then you will see the whole list. And as you can see at the dates, for example, yeah, it's a very like up-to-date platform. And almost every day they add a new traineeship. So that's also quite useful if you're looking for a traineeship in Austria. And it's the same procedure. You need to apply directly at the company and they will decide if you get the internship or not. And if you, if you know you get the internship, then you can apply for the funding at your home university. And then on our website, the last thing I want to quickly show you are the traineeships at our university. So this is really traineeships at the University of Innsbruck, and we have two offers at the moment, one in the field of psychology and the other one in the field of hydraulic engineering. Again, here you can see where you can apply, which is who is the contact person, and what are the requirements, and yeah. And we always try to motivate our professors to offer traineeships for international students, and we hope we can extend this list in the future. And then we have some current opportunities for you. So these are companies from our network which directly send the offers to us, and it's the same procedure. Here you can find all information about the traineeships. Often it's required that you have at least a basic level of German. That might be a challenge for many, but yeah, that's what the companies want. Most of the time, English is one of the main languages which you use, but most employers, they require at least a basic German knowledge. So that was what we can offer you at the moment. Please just check our website regularly, because we're updating them quite often with new offers and in general, news about traineeship opportunities and news about companies. And if you have any specific question, you can contact us via email, aurora-praktikum@uibk.ac.at. And we would be happy to welcome you as trainees at the University of Innsbruck or in Austria in general. And thank you for listening.
Okay, thanks so much, Larissa. We are now at the end of the frontal presentations. We are really looking forward to hopefully seeing you soon in Innsbruck, Austria. If you've got questions in the meantime, just address them to our Aurora Innsbruck office. The address is quite simple. The recording for everyone who hasn't been present today or who would like to rewatch certain segments will be made available later. We have now also invited 3 students to do a little discussion with us. I'll introduce them in a second. I'll stop sharing for now. We will give you, however, in the meantime, some time to post your questions either in the chat or on the Padlet. I just posted a link again in the chat for you. I'll stop sharing now, so I'll get to see more of the students, and thanks so much all of you for being here. So maybe we'll start with Johanna. Can you tell us where you're from and what you are doing in Innsbruck, please?
Yes, so I'm a Swedish Erasmus student, and I came here in February to start my first Erasmus semester. And my initial plan was actually just to stay one semester, but after, I don't know, 3 weeks, I was like, no way I'm leaving after just one semester. So now I'm doing my second one here.
Okay, great. So what are you studying, and did you find it easy to find your way around in Innsbruck at the beginning?
Well, back home, I'm studying environmental and water engineering. But I applied this Erasmus through the Geology Institute back home. So when I came, they actually thought I was a geologist, which I not really am. So mostly I'm just taking geology courses here. But it's actually super nice.
Okay, and as an international student, so as somebody coming from outside, was there anything that surprised you particularly, or was there something that you didn't expect at all about coming to Innsbruck?
Well, one thing that I feel about Innsbruck here is that everyone is so nice. I didn't expect people to be so friendly, and they are super welcoming. And I don't know, I have a lot of situations where people I barely know says like, oh, hi, do you want to come and have a beer with us? And those kind of things. And I would say it's different back home. And I really appreciate that. Yeah.
That's actually a very nice compliment, since I guess a couple of Austrians are sitting in the room. So thanks so much for saying this. What I also wanted to ask you, are there any tips that you would like to give future incoming students about what to consider before coming or when planning?
I would say, but all of you have already said this, and it's to find somewhere to stay. Because I had some troubles with it before. But I managed to get one in like last minute. So yeah, start applying for the accommodation in time.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. And also get a buddy. The buddy system is really great.
Okay, thanks so much. So in case anybody got questions for Johanna, just post them in the chat in the meantime, and I'll head over to our second student who is attending today, Stephanie. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about your background, where you're currently at, what you're studying? Stephanie, I think there were some technical difficulties. Maybe we'll wait for Stephanie to reconnect. What is happening now? Okay, doesn't matter. Maybe Valerie in the meantime, so we don't lose a lot of time. Can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Valerie. I'm studying psychology now in master's, in my first master's semester, and I actually did my bachelor's here as well. And I was thinking about leaving Innsbruck, but then I couldn't because yeah, I'm kind of stuck with the whole Innsbruck vibe. It's really it's a city, but as mentioned before, it's a city, but it's like it's small too, and it feels really it feels like home right now for me. So
that sounds great, yeah, especially since you're not a born and bred Innsbrucker like some of our other students.
Yeah, no, in psychology it's actually like this, that most students are not from Austria. So like me, I'm from Germany originally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I feel like more at home right now here in Innsbruck or in Austria in general than I feel at home in Germany. So yeah.
Okay, sounds great. I see that Stephanie has now also come back on. Maybe we'll do another try. Stephanie, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. From the University of Innsbruck, but right now I'm not in Innsbruck, but I'm in Belgium. I'm doing an exchange myself right now. And it's actually quite interesting to listen to this presentation when I'm actually in the process of doing an exchange myself at the moment.
Yeah, that feels like Inception. So you're there, but somehow not there. Okay, but still, maybe since you are currently away and you have seen the other side of organizing this exchange already, can you give students tips, or do you have any feedback for us on what would have helped you better prepare for your exchange semester? What would you like to have known before?
I think the whole process is a little challenging, especially when you're doing it for the first time. But right now, I feel like I did it, and I know what I have to pay attention to now. But it was a little confusing at the beginning. But like we got a very detailed list from the IRO that told us basically which steps come in when and what we have to finish by which time, which was incredibly helpful. And I looked up a lot of things on that. I think the one thing that maybe would have made it even more accessible for me with all of the information would be if we were maybe put in contact with somebody who had actually gone to that country maybe a year before, so they could tell us, you know, this is a very special thing that you have to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I figured it out.
Well, that's also a part of the learning experience, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So we've actually only got a couple of minutes left. I see there haven't been any questions yet. I guess that is positive feedback for us. Maybe we covered so many subjects already. In case you have any last minute questions, you can either send them to aurora@uibk.ac.at. I would also like to tell you where to head for the next session. So in 5 minutes, you can attend the presentation from the University of Grenoble Alps. And in an hour, you can attend the presentation of the University of Aberdeen today. So it's France and Scotland later today. To wrap up, maybe I've got one last question for all of our 3 students, maybe just in a couple of words. Valerie, Johanna, and Stephanie, what is one absolute must-do in Innsbruck that you cannot do without? Maybe Johanna, let's kick off with you.
I would say buy the Freizeit ticket and go skiing every weekend.
Okay, thanks. That is the sporty take then. Maybe Valerie, what about you?
Well, if I had to pick just one, maybe look up what concerts are available, or free concerts, like in the Treibhaus.
Okay, Treibhaus is like a bar or a bigger place where you can go out at night. And last but not least, Stephanie, any tips?
Yeah, so my first thought was also going skiing because I obviously love it. But I mean, the mountains are not only accessible in winter, you can also go for hikes in summer or even autumn. And it's really beautiful landscape when you walk out the door of the university. It's amazing.
Okay, so thanks so much everyone for being here. I hope you really enjoyed our presentation. We look forward to seeing you in Innsbruck soon, and I'll end the session now. The link in the chat is available for the sessions that are to follow in the afternoon. Thanks everyone for participating, for talking, for answering questions, and I hope to see you soon in Innsbruck. There's not much more to say. Okay, thank you, bye.